morning, friends. Hello, hello. Hi, friends. Good morning. We need the Tibetan bowl back. Yeah. I have this crazy thing with my voice. So if I try harder, it gets worse. So I'm going to not try. More not trying. If I whisper, it's actually pretty good. So welcome to Unity of Fort Collins, everyone. Do we have anybody who's new here today that would like a welcome packet? Put your hand up and one up here. Kamina, right here. Right here. Welcome. We're glad you're here. We also have a bunch of online participants. So welcome if you're online. It is my pleasure to introduce Elizabeth Sink today. Elizabeth is a faculty member and spiritual pioneer at CSU. So CSU is a huge community of 30,000 people, and everybody needs a spiritual path, but you can't talk about it at CSU very much. You have to kind of talk about it because everybody's there. So Elizabeth and a team of folks help give space for students and faculty to say here and here, which is awesome at a university. So, and she's headed off on semester at sea. Woohoo! Nothing better than that. Our reader today is Claire, our lovely Claire, and John Magnie in the choir today. We're doing a new thing, sort of new. When we circle up for the peace song, if you would like to be a receiver of love energy, hang out in your seat. So we talk about giving and receiving, so we're normalizing that it feels good to receive. So if you'd like to hang out in your seat, just soak it up. Prayer chaplain today is Jenny Hout.
Good morning, friends. I'm Jenny Hout, and I'm your prayer chaplain today, and I'll be in the Myrtle Room after service and would be honored to pray with anyone.
My name is Lil, and I'm on the Connection Social team. And you've heard these announcements before about the picnic coming up on the 30th. And I have a little bit of a problem that you can solve very easily. People have signed up, but they don't have their +1 or +2 or +3 on it. And if you haven't signed up, you can still sign up too. But if you could, just flip back, they're all on here. If you haven't signed up, you can come. We're going to have a taco bar, and Unity is going to provide the tacos and the meat and the protein and stuff like that. But we have you can bring a salad or dessert or some of the toppings. You can read on here about that. But if you've already signed up, please go through and see if you've got a +1 or +2 or +3 or +4. Thank you.
Good
morning. I'm Courtney. I'm on, well, multiple teams. So, but my first announcement is about my group that I facilitate on Tuesdays at 1:30 that everyone's invited to. It's Dr. Hawkins' study group. We're finishing up his book called The Eye of the Eye, and we're getting ready to start the book Healing and Recovery. And the way the class or the group goes is we watched a DVD of him lecturing. He lectured for about 8 years. And then we read from the book, and there's some discussion, but we really let Dr. Hawkins do the teaching primarily. But it's a wonderful group. It's been 3.5 years or so that we've been meeting, and it's just really heartfelt. So if you want to ever join us, and there's no obligation to come every week, so drop in if you want to ever. And then the big news is that we finally do have an account on Venmo, meaning that you don't have to go to the bookstore to have the bookstore person generate a QR code. You can go straight to Venmo and look us up. So I'm going to show you a couple of things. So if your phone is like mine, the picture on the left, all you see is we can't find any matching people or businesses, but if you get rid of the keyboard or scroll up, you see at the bottom there's a list of charities. That's where we'll show up. Or at the top, you see that you can filter by people, businesses, or charities. If you click on charities, then we're right there and you can find us. So Unity of Fort Collins on Venmo, and it's good for obviously donations, but book purchases. At the yard sale, a bunch of people used it. If you're in a class and you want to make a love offering to the class, so you can use it for any of those things. Thanks.
Good morning, I'm Natasha. I would love to arrange a singing bowl session here at Unity. So if anyone's not familiar with a singing bowl session, it's also known as a sound bowl, this is a great opportunity for deep relaxation, energetic healing, meditation and mindfulness, and chakra alignment. There's lots more, and the list goes on. If you're interested, I'll have my first clipboard to pass around. And you can put your name. If we have enough people, then I can set it up. And if we're not interested, that's fine. Maybe I can try another time. And if you have any questions, you've never attended and you want to know more, I don't have my boys with me today. They're at a birthday party, so I can give you my full attention, and I can let you know what I know about it.
Thursday, come and join us from 5 until 6:30, and we have cool drums back there, or you bring your own. Thank you. Please join us.
Okay. The Elephant Garden is happening, so they dug trenches for irrigation pipes. The cement circle for our labyrinth has been poured, and there's a thing called lunations that are the things that hug the labyrinth. So there's some, I just want to say things are happening. The gazebo has been deconstructed to reconstruct it. So there's action out there. And pretty soon we're going to have this beautiful community park, a world-class labyrinth, and a safe gazebo for shade. So, woohoo, thank you all. The walking group meets on Wednesday mornings, and you can check with Elwina or Paul if you want to do that. Interfaith chant Saturday, the 22nd from 7 to 9 in the Friendship Room this month. So Sarah Rain is the best. The best. She is the best. If you haven't experienced it, oh my gosh, come do it. And in each pew, we have listening cards for you to give us feedback. So we'd like that. Okay, that's enough of my voice. Sorry. Our unity centers us in light and peace, allowing us to recognize our God within and to radiate that love to the world. Thank you.
All right, good morning. We're going to get some singers and some musicians up here. I always like to get suggestions of what to play from different people, because there's a lot of good songs that I may not be aware of. This is one. It's called Testimony, brought to us by Eliza here, Eliza Packard. And it's from a folk singer, a Canadian folk singer named Farron. So, Testimony.
What's so funny?
Godlike and warlike and strong like only some show, and they're sad like and mad like and had like we know.
And by my life be I spirit, and by my heart be I human, and by my eyes be I open, and by my hands be I whole.
They say slowly brings the least shock, no matter how slow I walk. There are traces, empty spaces, and doors are locked.
By my life be I spirit, by my heart be I human, by my eyes be I open, and by my hands be I whole. Listen, there are waters hidden from us. In the maze we find them still.
They take you to them, they take you young ones, may they take their own.
And by our life be we spirit, and by our hearts be we human, and by our eyes be we open, and by our hands be we whole, and by our hands be we whole. Thank you. That's called Testimony.
True Peace by Thich Nhat Hanh. And just for clarity and understanding, the word Sangha is a Sanskrit and a Pali word, and its basic meaning is a community that shares a collective energy, harmony, and mutual support on a path of awareness. So this is called cultivating the insight of interconnectedness. To build community, it is important to accept the insight of interbeing, of interconnectedness. We must realize that happiness is not an individual matter. Finding happiness through our separate individual self is impossible. The family is a sangha, society is a sangha, and the earth and all life are a sangha. This is why we have to learn to live as a sangha, not only with other human beings, but with other species as well. We have to accept animals, plants, and minerals as our partners, as members of our community. As we cultivate and keep alive the insight of non-self and interconnectedness in our daily life, we free ourselves from the prison of individualism. We open our eyes to the reality that the happiness of our family and the larger community is also our own happiness. With this insight, we will no longer feel separate, and we will know how to behave in a way that brings harmony and happiness to our family, our society, our Mother Earth. We have been imprisoned for so long and have suffered so much from our individualistic way of living. Our practice for the new century should be to transform the notion that we are separate selves and to liberate ourselves. The most meaningful practice we have today is to learn how to live as a sangha. If we are a drop of water and we try to get to the ocean as only an individual drop, we will surely evaporate along the way. To arrive at the ocean, you must go as a river. The Sangha is your river. In our daily practice, we learn how to be part of this river. We learn how to look with Sangha eyes, how to walk with Sangha feet, how to feel with a Sangha heart. We train ourselves to see the happiness of our community as our own happiness, and to see the difficulties of our community as our own difficulties. Once we are able to do this, we will suffer much less. We will feel stronger and more joyful. As members of a Sangha, we can develop our individual talent and our individual potential, and at the same time contribute to and participate in the talent and happiness of the entire group. Nothing is lost. Everyone wins. A Sangha has the power to protect and carry us even in difficult times. The Sangha River is a community of friends who practice the way of harmony, awareness, and compassion. I'm going to stop there. Thank you.
All right.
So if any of you were alive 25 years ago, there was a pretty famous songwriter, Elvis Costello, if you ever heard it. And he was part of that funny punk sort of thing. And irony was his specialty. And this song, which has caught my attention for years, is really his conversation about Sangha, which starts with the line, and so where are the strong and who are the trusted, and where is the harmony, sweet harmony? And this is the line. Because each time I feel it slipping away, it just makes me want to cry. And then he has this ironic line, what's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? And so this song, as you listen to it, it's Elvis Costello, really, at his best.
We've got Peter to thank for bringing this song into us. Here we go. As I walk through this crazy world, searching for light in the darkness of insanity, I ask myself, is all hope lost? Is there only pain and hatred and misery? Each time I feel like this inside, there's no I know. What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? Whoa. What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? As I walk on through troubled times, my spirit gets so downhearted sometimes. So we're all strong, and who are the trusted? Where is the harmony, sweet harmony? Time I feel it slipping away, just makes me wanna cry. What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? Oh, what's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? Here we go. Where are the strong? Who are the trusted? Where is the harmony, sweet harmony? Time I feel it slipping away, it just makes me wanna cry. What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? What's so funny about peace, love, and
The only church in Fort Collins that will play Elvis Costello today.
That's right.
Thank you, choir. I think you're right. You are the only church that will play Elvis Costello today. I just want to say thank you for inviting me to be your guest today with you. As Ann mentioned, my name's Elizabeth Sink. I use she, her pronouns. My religious home is at the Unitarian Universalist Church, and I believe I met many of you at the Our Neighbors Faith event that we hosted together. What a wonderful collaboration that was, wasn't it? Oh my gosh. Yeah, give yourselves a round of applause. That's one of the most important programs that I feel like I run here in the community, are those opportunities for members of our community to get together, to meet folks who believe differently, to sit down and share a meal together, and to ask authentic questions. So we don't leave there persuaded by one another. Maybe we do, but really we leave there with relationship and knowing a person who believes differently, and they're a normal human just like us. That's community building in really important ways that has proven resiliency. It's oftentimes those invisible relationships in a community that really make it a profound place to live. So thank you to those of you who are able to participate. I also serve as the vice president of the local Interfaith Council here in Fort Collins, an organization that, if you don't know about it, has been around for over 47 years, maybe. A really integral mainstay in the community, where we have about 35 different belief communities, as well as even more nonprofits, some of which were incubated there in the Interfaith Council, like the Food Bank, Faith Family Hospitality. So it's a wonderful place. If you're interested, come join us. We meet every Thursday from 9 to 10:30, first Thursday of every month. And we rotate from different faith communities, again, so we can get into different spaces and meet different people there. I also, as Ann said, I lead CSU's Multifaith and Belief initiatives. It's a really clunky title, but the reason that this is such a clunky title is because it's as inclusive as we can get, especially at a public institution. And Ann was right, it's tricky to talk about religion, faith, and belief at a public institution for a lot of reasons. But we want to create a space where people can explore different beliefs, meet people with different beliefs or no beliefs, and have a space where we can ask questions. We can try on new identities and labels. We can use words like currently. Currently, this is what I think I believe, and that's okay. I don't have to have all the answers right now, because that's what that chapter in life should be about. So a team of folks and I are striving to make that a bigger reality at CSU. Currently, CSU doesn't financially fund us, but they are a big fan of what we do. So part of what my calling is to make that a reality. So I am delighted to talk with you today about some of what I've learned by working with wonderful students in the community, and also kind of a larger lesson that I've learned in my own personal life that has a lot to do with this theme of connection across deep difference, and what happens when we run into a difference so deep in our personal lives that everything we've learned and advocate for kind of goes out the window. I want to just give you a little bit of a fair warning. I am going to bring up a tricky topic of guns today. I'm not going to talk about any violence, but the topic will come up, so I just wanted to give you a fair warning of that. For the past 8 years, I've had the privilege of gathering each week with a group of Colorado State University students to share a meal and explore our deepest beliefs and the way they influence the ways we navigate life's biggest questions, like meaning and purpose, shame and forgiveness, belonging and identity. Around our dinner table sit students who identify as Catholic, Jewish, Muslim, atheist, agnostic, spiritual but not religious, and many others in between. They come together not to debate or persuade, but to listen, to learn, to build relationships across meaningful differences. And I'm biased, but I think the world needs a lot more of that. This program is called Food for Thought, and it is part of CSU's Multifaith and Belief initiatives, which seek to cultivate religious literacy, belonging, and constructive engagement across differences of belief. Again and again, I have the privilege of witnessing something remarkable happen. Students discover that people are far more complex than the categories they have been assigned to by one another. Abstract labels become human stories. Difference becomes relationship, and relationships begin shaping new possibilities for community. Now, as meaningful as those moments are, I didn't come here to share a student story, although I'm full of them, so afterwards, if you want to hear some, I'm happy to share. I came here to tell on myself. Because the most difficult lesson I've learned about engaging across deep difference didn't happen at CSU. It happened in my own marriage. Now, a little bit of context. My husband, Doug, and I, who's not here today, have been together for nearly 25 years. One of our enduring strengths of our relationship has been a remarkable degree of alignment in both our core values and the way we seek to embody those values in our everyday life. Let me give you some examples. Over the years, we've weathered financial hardships, health challenges, joys and struggles of raising 2 children. We deeply care about environmental stewardship. We compost, we garden, we raise chickens, we hang our laundry to dry, we install solar panels. We care deeply about inclusion and community. Our Dungeons and Dragons table has long been filled with wide varieties of identities, sexual orientations, personalities, and classes. And over time, we've constructed a shared framework for making sense of the world, one that felt both predictable and reassuring. Doug is exactly the person that you would want, we joke about this often in our house, that you would want on your apocalypse team. Have you ever thought about that? If shit goes down, who are your people? Yeah, that's what this talk is about. He is a true MacGyver, an inventor, a fixer, and protector. And for most of our marriage, our lives were comfortable, predictable. And then one day that comfort began to crack. Not because we stopped sharing any values, but because a value that we both held very deeply began to lead us towards something profoundly different in our conclusions. And at the center of that conflict was the value of safety. Now, many years ago, Doug became interested in hunting as part of environmental stewardship. He wanted to be a part of harvesting food that he knew had lived a good life in a natural world. I had never wanted guns in my house. I did not grow up around firearms. I was worried about accidents, and I also carried assumptions about the kinds of people who owned guns. Over time, however, I came to better understand the values underlying Doug's interest in hunting. His motivation was rooted in accountability, in health, in stewardship, and a desire to live more consciously with the realities of the natural world. Eventually, I softened. Then, 5 years ago, Doug told me that he wanted to purchase a pistol for home defense and defending while we were traveling. We often go backpacking in the back country and a variety of other reasons. Now, by nature, I am an optimist. A colleague once recently described me as aggressively positive. My motto for most of my life it'll be fine. Doug believed a defensive firearm would make our family safer. What gradually became apparent was that we had not lost or abandoned a shared value of safety. Rather, we had arrived at profoundly different conclusions about how that value should be enacted in our world. Eventually, and there's a lot of story there, eventually, I agreed that I could live with a pistol locked up in our home with every possible safety measure. And I decided at that point that I would carry a secret because I feared what others in my professional, social, and faith communities would now think of me. Okay, take a deep breath, and if that's a tricky topic for you, I hear you and I understand you, and I'm gonna push you even farther, because I was pushed even farther. 2 years later, my husband told me that he wanted to buy an AR-15. And if you don't know what that is, it's like the classic Rambo-looking gun. Yeah. This proposal triggered, pun intended, an immediate visceral resistance. I judged, I stereotyped, I catastrophized. I wondered what happened to my dear, sweet husband. I wondered whether I even recognized the man I had married more than 2 decades ago. And for someone whose professional life is devoted to fostering constructive engagement across differences, I found myself entirely unwilling to practice the very principles I regularly advocate for. Perhaps you've been in some type of similar situation. What eventually became clear was that I was not merely reacting to Doug's position or proposal. I was defending a particular understanding of myself. A progressive, a Democrat, an academic, an interfaith leader, a peace builder. I had worked for decades for people to know that about me, and now here was this. I had built a story about people who owned AR-15s, and now the person I loved most no longer fit into that story. After weeks of arguments and tears and sleepless nights and thoughts of separation and emotional exhaustion, I finally asked a different question in my head. Why? Why? Doug shared with me a growing political polarization fear that instability could quickly escalate in our country. And he wanted to be prepared to protect our family. He never wanted to use it, but he didn't want to be without it. I did not necessarily arrive at the same conclusion he did, but allowing myself to ask that question, and after weeks allowing myself to be able to listen to his answer, I could finally see that his fears were rooted in care, and he might not be entirely insane. This was still the same husband I had, the same thoughtful, emotionally intelligent, deeply responsible people I had always known. I began doubling down on my literature around polarization, why this was such a big, deep difference and difficulty. And I realized how little intellectual space I had allowed for perspectives that were different from my own in this area. For years, my understanding about guns resembled an on-off switch. Guns were bad. People that owned guns were generally bad. Avoiding guns was good. Not talking about guns was even better. The framework was neat, simple, and affirming. Doug's fears were valid, and so were the fears of those advocating for stricter gun regulations. I'm going to say that again. Doug's fears of increasing political potential violence around polarization were valid, and so were the fears of those advocating for stricter gun laws. Both perspectives emerged from concerns about safety. My binary framework no longer fit. Ambiguity is very uncomfortable. My college students really don't like it. Especially the 19-year-olds that come in right in their clothes match and they look good and they have all the answers. Just ask them. And my job is to screw up their binaries and to say, what about this person with really good intentions who votes really differently than you? Right? Ambiguity is really uncomfortable. It requires humility. It requires courage, and most of all, it requires willingness to be changed by listening to another person's story, even when you disagree. One of my favorite authors and texts I use in all of my classes by Monica Guzman, a journalist in Seattle who advocates for deep listening across important differences, uses a phrase that I often return to in these moments. I've never thought of it that way. It's also the title of her book. Totally recommend it. Understanding and agreement are not the same thing. We can seek to understand a person's reasoning without relinquishing our own convictions. At CSU, I see this dynamic unfold every week. A Jewish student shares what it feels like to question whether displaying visible signs of Jewish identity is safe. A student from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints describes experiences of stereotyping and exclusion. And suddenly, the Jewish student and the LDS student have a lot to talk about. A secular student with no particular religious affiliation speaks about feeling disconnected and misunderstood because they don't identify with a faith tradition, but they still want to seek out spiritual truth. They share their stories, and suddenly abstract categories give way to actual human beings with histories, fears, hopes, and experiences. Relationships emerge. Empathy grows and belonging becomes possible. Addition to engaging with students over dinner, I've had the privilege in the past 3 years of being able to develop curriculum for the honors program for all of the incoming students, which is about 500 a year, that focuses on these themes of intellectual humility, listening skills, especially when it's across deep, deep divides, mindfulness practices, and loving the issue and the effects of issues instead of just loving our solution to an issue. These are difficult things. They're difficult things for all of us in this room. Imagine a 19-year-old practicing these things. Recently, I got to practice them in a very different way, too, as I'm part of an organization called Braver Angels. Anybody heard of Braver Angels? It's a national organization, and we have a local chapter that really rallies people around bridging differences across political divides. And they had their national convention in Philadelphia at the end of June, right before the 4th of July, 250th anniversary of our country. 500 liberals and 500 conservatives got together and spent the week together. We roomed together, we shared meals together, we debated, we danced, we visited historical monuments together, and we discussed issues from person to person instead of across party lines. I got to learn why a conservative person in Oregon actually is really concerned about mail-in ballot fraud, because it really actually decided a race in her county. I didn't even know that happened. I thought it was a made-up fear. I asked a conservative person what conservative meant to them, and they delightfully explained conservative meant to them that they were conserving America's privileges and rights, that all voices should be heard. That's not how I thought they would describe conservative. It was an amazing experience. And I get to experience this on my campus too, when they engage with this curriculum that brings together people of big, giant differences. I heard one story at that conference that I want to share before I leave you. It was two cousins who share very different political ideologies, who for many years were estranged from one another. They couldn't imagine how this person that they loved and grew up with and shared all these experiences and they had faith and dignity in could possibly vote for that other candidate. And they brought it down to this great metaphor of, after years of writing that ship and listening to each other's stories, not agreeing, but allowing themselves to be affected by that other person's understanding of the world. They described each other as a pebble in each other's shoe that they were willing to keep in there because it was important that we walk together. 2 years ago, Doug bought the AR-15. I have a Rambo gun in my basement. And in preparing for this reflection, I thought it was only fair that I drove out to the Pawnee grasslands and learned to shoot it. I did not like it. But I also think it's important in this day and age that we aren't afraid to learn about the things that scare us deeply. My feelings will always remain mixed. The larger lesson, however, is not about guns. It's about how we construct meaning with people that we disagree with. Many of us move through the world using those on-off switches of good, bad, right, wrong, us and them. Now, some of our frameworks need to remain on-off. Truth matters. Justice matters. Empathy matters. But many of our relationships and understanding are too binary to accommodate complexity of human experience. And our assumptions about other people deserve ongoing examination. I'm happy to report that our marriage remains strong, and in many ways, it's stronger than it ever was before. These days, I'm grateful to have Doug on my apocalypse team. But I'm also equally committed now, and I hope you'll join me with this idea of the apocalypse prevention team. These people work to reduce polarization. The people willing to examine their assumptions, even when it seems to go against everything you understand to be right and true. University students practice this, but the difficult discipline of being softened by another person's story. Because whether we welcome the fact or not, our lives remain profoundly interconnected, as Thich Nhat Hanh said and we heard today. The future we're creating will not only be shaped by the people who agree with us. It will also be shaped by those whose experiences and convictions and fears differ than our own. I continue this work in our community and at CSU, and as I mentioned before, currently the university doesn't financially support this work, but I hope that they will someday. And I've taken it on as my calling to pursue this. Because I believe that we need to be graduating students who are savvy in navigating these tensions. Regardless of discipline, they need these skills, and we need them to have these skills. So I no longer believe that our deepest challenge is disagreement. Human beings have always disagreed. Rather, our challenge is learning how to remain in relationship, if it's safe to do so, when disagreement feels threatening. How to resist the temptation to flatten one another into caricatures, and how to remain open to the possibility of another person's story illuminating dimensions of us that we might not even be able to see on our own. That, I come to believe, is not merely a civic practice, but a spiritual practice. And perhaps that's the real work of the Apocalypse Prevention Team. I hope you join me. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Elizabeth. Here we go. Our thoughts are prayer, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayer. Listen to what you're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is everywhere. And every thought's indeed a
I'd like to invite us into a brief spiritual practice. Throughout the reflection, I shared a story about moving from certainty to curiosity, from caricature to complexity, from judgment to a deeper understanding of another person's humanity. And this practice offers an opportunity to experience that movement for ourselves. Remember, you don't need to change your beliefs or agree with anyone who has hurt, frustrated, disappointed, or confused you. Instead, this practice invites us to explore a different question. What might become possible if we looked beyond our labels and assumptions long enough to remember another person's full humanity? As we begin, I invite you to settle into your seat. If it's comfortable, place both feet on the floor. Close your eyes. If it's comfortable, take a slow, deep breath. There's nothing to solve during these next few minutes. Simply notice what arises. Bring to mind someone with whom you've experienced tension, disappointment, distance, or confusion. Notice the label that most readily comes into your awareness. What is the story you tell yourself about them? Perhaps it sounds like, they just don't get it. They've changed. They're naive. They're selfish. Whatever arises, simply notice without judgment. Notice the label. Notice the story. And keep breathing. Now gently set that label aside. Before they became the person, the kind of person in your mind, they were a child. Someone's child. Someone who experienced great joy. Someone who experienced great hurt. Someone who wanted belonging and safety. And someone who wanted to be loved. Imagine them sitting across from you. Not for an argument, not as a category or a caricature of a person, but simply as a human being. Pause and consider what fear they may carry that I do not fully understand. Consider what hope they might be protecting. What love might be underneath the thing that frustrates me most. Now, without forcing agreement and without abandoning your own convictions, see if you can silently offer this phrase to that person. I've never thought of it that way. I've never thought of it that way. Not because they're right or you're wrong, or you're right and they're wrong, but because reality is often larger than our current understanding. Let the phrase rest gently on your heart. I've never thought of it that way. Now go ahead and bring your attention back to this room. Notice the people gathered here. Each of us carries stories. And each of us have blind spots. Each of us is still becoming and longs to be seen in our fullest humanity. Let's take one more slow breath together. If there's one thing I hope you carry from this practice, it's that understanding is not agreement. Curiosity is not surrender. And allowing another's humanity to become visible is one of the most courageous spiritual practices available to us. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. May the blessings of God rest upon me. May God's peace abide in me. May God's presence illuminate my heart now and forevermore. May the blessings of God rest upon you. May God's peace abide in you. May God's presence illuminate your heart now and forevermore. May the blessings of God rest upon us. May God's peace abide in us. May God's presence illuminate our hearts now and forevermore. Now and forevermore.
So Elizabeth, thank you. That's a message we not only need to hear, but it's a message that we need to spread to the world. So thank you for that very much. You probably may not know Elizabeth, but certainly she has impacted Fort Collins, not only with the Interfaith Council, but her work here at the university. So thank you for that also. You've been a real blessing to this world. Thank you. So let's go ahead and have our ushers come forward for our offering. And let's bless that offering with the words on our screen together. Thine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
All right. Well, Elizabeth's message was bridging the divide. So it just seems like we've got to do one of the greatest songs ever written, Bridge Over Troubled Waters. And myself and Kathy have a dedication on this one to an old friend of ours who's been gone for a while, Marie LaBeouf. This was her favorite song. So this is going to be a sing-along, okay? We'll have the words all up here. Here we go. When you're weary, feeling small, when tears are in your eyes, will comfort you. I'll take your part. Oh, when darkness comes and pain is all around, like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down like a bridge over troubled water. I will lay me down. Sail on, silver girl, sail on by. Your time has come to shine. All your dreams are on their way. See how they shine. Oh, if you need a friend, I'm sailing right behind, like a bridge over troubled waters. I will ease your mind, like a bridge over troubled waters. I will ease your mind. I will ease your mind. I will ease your mind. All right, thank you all.
Well, I've been told our children are doing other things today.
Oh,
So
okay.
we won't be having them
We'll
come
just,
in to join us. I'd like to acknowledge all of you that are watching us online. There's as many watching us online on a typical Sunday as what's in attendance here. So we're grateful for all those in the unseen audience out there. And by the way, we've captured Elizabeth. She's on that unseen machine in the sky. And you can watch her lesson over and over and over and over again. It'll be well worth it. In fact, why not recommend someone else take a peek at what happens here at Unity of Fort Collins? They, I'm sure, will be impressed. So thank you. So as we've been talking about, those of you that like to feel the energy of this place, just stay right where you are. You're the inside circle, and the rest of you form an outside circle as we close our service today. Okay. So I'd invite you to drop hands for just a second. And hold your hands up, because we're going to bless those that are present in our room together. We love you, we bless you, and we behold the divine as you. Amen. Okay, now our prayer, protection, and peace song. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.